Hello there, Internet. Mogwai here with another video for you guys today. Doing my old intro because I'm not used to doing intros or videos like this regularly. We're going to be doing some React Andy today, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be reacting to the new mini set for Pokemon Pocket. We have a bunch of like new videos. It took me a while to realize that it was like amongst these. Apparently it's like Pokemon Day or something, and they did like a conference and they just revealed a bunch of stuff. I'm excited for like Pokemon ZA Legends as well. I think Arceus was a really nice step in the right direction for, you know, Pokemon games in the future, like an evolution of the franchise, I guess, for like the main games. I'm really excited to look into it. But today we're gonna take a look at the trailer here. I want to clarify something. I try to remain leak spoiler free. It's a bit of an old school approach, especially when it comes to YouTube. Like, I probably should be covering the leaks that have been released and stuff, but I like reacting to the official trailers without any prior information, which is why we're doing this. I did actually see Arceus because I opened Twitter one day and people were just talking about it, so I couldn't dodge that. But I don't know anything else about this set. We're going to be reacting to the trailers and to the new cards, and I'm going to give you guys my first impressions on what's to come. So without further ado, I am recording, right? Because I can only do this once. You know, being a reaction video, I guess. React Andy! Pocket Edition. Let's do this. Give me a moment. Let's leave a like. And let me put on my headphones. Okay, just double checking because I only have one take for this. All right, let's do this. Oh boy, okay, we got the effects here. It's Arceus! What? We didn't see that coming. So Arceus EX, I have seen this card before. This is not a shock here. We all expected this to be the basic, given that the expansion was centered around Generation 4. Arceus was missing out of the bunch, and we get a normal type basic EX Pokemon. That is a first for TCG Pocket. With 140 HP and the Fabled Luster ability that says this Pokemon cannot be affected by any special conditions, aka status effects. You can't poison it, you can't sleep it, you can't paralyze it, you can't burn it, you can't confuse it. So that's very neat. The Ultimate Force ability kind of puts Pikachu EX to shame a little bit with 3 energy, 70 damage initially, but will deal 20 more damage for each of your best Pokemon. If you have a full developed board, this attack is going to translate into 130 damage for just 3 energy. That's really good, especially on a basic body where you don't have to find any extra pieces. It does have a retreat cost of 2, you know, like other legendary creatures like Articuno, Moltres, etc. So there is that, but overall, this card is definitely going to be meta-defining just because it can literally be included in any deck. That's a very powerful trait for a card to have in this game. That's why we see a lot of normal types being very carefully balanced around this. And that's why we've seen Pokemon like Farfetch, very simple Pokemon that have been very prevalent early on in the game because it could fit into any sort of typing combination. Arceus is that, but the EX form. And it's very, very impressive, honestly. Like, alone, it represents a win condition. It can really fit any deck that is aiming to flood the board with Pokemon. So, you know, barring some decks that we see that go all in with like Exeggutor and 1 Celebi, like any sort of deck that has a decent density of Pokemons can easily enable this. And all of a sudden, like any sort of like cool typing ideas that rely a heavy hitter can be reinforced by this. So I think Arceus, unless it's too good and it just ends up being in every deck, which I don't think that's going to be the case, it will potentially be very healthy for the game. Like, I'm excited for this card because it's going to enhance deck building possibilities. Sometimes including a card that has the ability to be included in a bunch of decks. You know, and before I start making a bunch of decks with Arceus, and it's like, oh, another Arceus deck, you know, like I'm going to get a lot of that. But I am really, really excited for this, at least initially, as it's really heavy, like dealing 130 damage for 3 energy. Yanmega deals 120 for 3, losing 1 energy in the process, and is a stage 1 evolution. So that just gives you an idea of the power this card represents, and definitely going to be an amazing card. Definitely going to be a top tier card. I have no doubt about it. Like, they clearly designed it with that intent, and expect to see a lot of Arceus. But let's take a look at what other stuff, because from here onwards, I'm going in blind. Here we go. Very shiny, very pretty, amazing. Oh, God, I can barely see these cards. Crobat! Oh, we got Crobat! Oh, my God, I can't read the ability, though. Darkness Fang, 50 damage for 1 energy, 110 HP, so weaker than Beedrill, which means this dude, retreat cost of 0, important. That ability must be quite impressive, because Beedrill is stronger than this. It's like a Gengar, but has 20 less HP than Gengar, so I'm expecting a powerful ability on top of that. I love Tyranitar. I'm not a huge Generation 2 fan, but I am a massive Tyranitar fan. I love playing Tyranitar in Showdown, and I think it's a really dope Pokemon. It's like the first time that they made a rock type that wasn't shit. And I love the rock darkness combination as well. We see a very heavy attack there. 4 energy, 120 damage, is that? So again, expecting a pretty powerful ability as well. We got, is that Carnivine in the back? There seems to be like another version of Carnivine, but with an ability. So I'm excited for that. We got Raichu. Who the fuck are you? Magnemite. No, I think it's Magnezone? Like a steel type Magnezone? Heatran, another Heatran. A fire type Heatran. Oh! And that's a ghost type. That's a psychic type Rotom, which makes sense. And a Bombasnow! A Bombasnow with an ability! Oh my God! I love a Bombasnow. Okay, I'm already hyped as hell. Can I look at these closer? Okay, wait, oh, come on. God, what is this perspective? What are you doing? I'm gonna have to look at the leaks, bro. This is ridiculous. Wait, Power Link? Is this Tyranitar? Power Link? If you have an Arceus or Arceus EX in play, attacks used by this Pokemon do plus 30 damage to your opponent's... If I can't read this. Oh my God, I can't read anything. What the hell? Okay. I was starting to get worried. I'm like, oh shit. Okay, dramatic switch there. All right, let's analyze this for a moment. Okay, it is a steel type Magnezone. Oh dear God. All of these have link abilities, Power Link and Resilience Link. And they're all linked to Arceus. Oh, okay, so they're hard forcing the synergy. I'm not sure if I'm crazy about that, to be honest. You know, when I see cards like Arceus, I'm excited to have the ability to mix that card with new cards and old cards alike. But if they're really pushing it, I'm not sure I like this design direction specifically, but let's see. If you have Arceus or Arceus EX in play, attacks used by this Pokemon do plus 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Which turns his Land Crush, it was 130, not 120. Which makes Land Crush essentially a 160 base damage attack. Keep in mind that could be Arceus or Arceus EX. I have not seen regular Arceus yet. I tried Rhyperior. Rhyperior dealing 150 damage for 4 energy was enough to, you know, have it be a legitimate win condition. Tyranitar has the same bulk as Rhyperior, and with Arceus, its attack is just going to deal 160. So it's not really that much of an upgrade from Rhyperior, to be honest. Given that 160 is a big deal because you can take down Pokemon that have 140 HP, EX Pokemon specifically, with 140 HP with a cape on them, right? But that's basically all Tyranitar is. A big Unga Bunga heavy hitter. Okay. Carnivine. Vine Whip for 20, 80 HP. If you have Arceus, the Vine Whip deals 50. We got a new Skarmory, ladies and gentlemen. The old Carnivine was just downright unplayable. Hopefully we get a cool art for these as well, because Carnivine's art is amazing, and it just kind of like sucks that it's on a literally unplayable card. Vine Whip dealing 50 damage if you have Arceus on is essentially like the same requirement / damage output that Skarmory has, and Skarmory has been very meta defining, so I think Carnivine, but Carnivine, yeah, I mean, you're forced to run a Pokemon instead of like a tool, I guess, which is a bit more of a requirement. But Carnivine can blend really well with Arceus EX because Carnivine is a 1 energy attacker and Arceus is a 3 energy attacker. So you can build up Arceus while you chip away at the opponent. Carnivine Arceus is going to be a legitimate combination, without a doubt. Raichu has the Resilience link, which is the opposite. It takes away damage. Okay, instead of like adding onto it. So Raichu is a tank, which is not what you expect from this Pokemon, because in the game is like very frail and fast. 90 HP, stage 1 evolution, but 90 HP with that effect is really solid. Spark 2 energy. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So like a faster version of the other Raichu that we got, being able to deal damage to the front and to the bench as well with a resilience approach. You can put a cape on this guy. You can run potions, and with Arceus, this could be really difficult. Like, taking away 30 damage from attacks, this Raichu is actually a menace. An absolute menace that can just chip away at your opponent's board while taking all the hits. Giving an attack that also allows it to somewhat bypass Dragon openers as well. Interesting. I mean, still going to be taking that Rocky damage, but at the same time, you know, I have to think about like the matchup against like Darkrai Magnezone. Raichu still gets worn down rather quickly because of the low HP, but you can enhance that, like I said, with potions and capes. And yeah, very, very powerful. And with Magnezone, we have the same resilience link, which I assume because it's the same like minus 30. So that makes Magnus sturdy as all hell. With a power beam that I cannot see. I mean, I think we saw earlier how much it cost. Like it glazed here for a moment. Yeah. It glazed here for a moment. I can't even. Yeah, it's a 3 energy 80, so that's pretty standard. Okay, so Magnezone is one hell of a tank. Very different from the other Magnezone. Can also build up some energy with the other. So the power beam can be enabled faster, but it requires 2 sources of steel energy, so you can't really cheat that much energy onto it. But still, you can cheat at least 1 energy, and you can use the spare energy to retreat it for free, technically. And it's tanky as hell. It's tanky as all hell. I like this Magnezone. I like this Magnezone a lot. It's just cooler. The other one is just like pure offense. This one's defense. I like the different approach. I like that the defense-oriented one is actually a steel type. I think that's very fitting. With a weakness to fire, fighting fire, and grass for Tyranitar. Interesting stuff. But again, these cards are very, very, you know, linked. Sorry. To Arceus. Which makes like deck building. I mean, you can still blend them with other Pokemon besides Arceus, and Arceus being a basic still leaves power open. But these are all linked. These are all linked to Arceus. It's like the entire set is linked to Arceus. How do I feel about this design? I have mixed feelings. Because it's gonna make deck building easier, obviously, but it's also gonna make it more limited inherently. But the key thing is like you combine, like if you combine a Pokemon like Crobat with Arceus, for example, like there's not much space for other stuff. Like you can maybe run like a 5th basic, right? But there's not as much room. So I guess we're gonna have a shitload of Arceus decks this month. Like, we're just gonna make Arceus deck number 7, Arceus deck number 15. All right, let's take a look at the cards though. What is a speed link? If you have Arceus or Arceus, this Pokemon has no retreat cost, so you can pivot it for free. A basic that attacks for 2. The Raging Mass Strike. If this Pokemon has damage on it, this attack does 40 more. That's insane. No, this Heat Turn is insane. This Heat Turn is actually crazy. It's a basic Pokemon that's dealing 80 damage for 2 energy, and it's not an EX Pokemon. And with Arceus, you can retreat it from that. This Pokemon is wild. This is wild. The Speed Link is obviously more relevant on a Pokemon like Heatran than something like Rotom. Rotom has a dash attack. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So, Rotom is essentially just another Azelf. An Azelf, it's okay. No. This is very relevant. The dash attack, it costs no specific source of energy. So Rotom is an Azelf. So every single color, every single typing in the game gets access to the bench, which gives a lot of decks potential game against Druddigon-based strategies that aim to sit behind. So Rotom could actually be quite relevant. You're dealing 20 damage, so it's still just strictly worse than a Hitmonlee. The speed link is less relevant because it just has a retreat cost of 1 and attacks with 1 energy, so you're not really... I'm not sure how... Because it does force you to play it alongside Arceus, but running Rotom and Arceus, you can splash those two into any deck, technically. And that has to mean something, for sure. What about Crobat? Once the Cunning Link, once during your turn, if you have Arceus or Arceus EX in play, I have to see what regular Arceus does. You may do 30 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Whoa! Whoa! I mean, it's a stage 2. It's a stage 2. Like, this would be crazy if it was like a... But this would be so broken if it was a basic. Okay, that is definitely a strong ability. That allows you to deal 80 damage for just 1 energy. But you can also utilize Crobat from the bench. And the fact that you can utilize Crobat's ability from the bench, it's like a Water Shuriken, but it's limited to the active Pokemon. But it deals more damage. And of course, you have to have Arceus in play as well. But we know how good Greninja is. Greninja's ability, because Greninja functions from the bench, oh my god, Crobat is actually potentially nuts. Crobat is legitimately very scary in that regard. Holy, they did not hold back on this Pokemon. I love Crobat, so I'm really excited to see this. The retreat cost, the free retreat cost as well is very nice. You can just bring him for free to the back line whenever without even investing any energy onto it. And then start firing away as long as you have Arceus on board as well. At that stage, when you complete a stage 2 evolution, this ability will be very easy to enable. Damn, very, very impressed with Heatran and Crobat. What about Abomasnow? Vigor Link. Attacks. Okay, can I see? Can I see this Abomasnow? Garchomp EX! Nutty! But wait, this doesn't work with Cynthia, right? Because it's an EX Pokemon, and it doesn't say Garchomp EX in the text. Okay, so it doesn't work with Cynthia. Correct me if I'm wrong. 170 HP Fighting type EX. Linear attack. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponents. But wait, whoa! Oh my god! Oh my god, this Pokemon's sick. This Pokemon combines access to the bench in a relevant fashion and a reliable 3 energy attack. I mean, it's kind of like a Gengar attack, but the fact that you can switch between the two, attack the front, attack the bench, attack the front, attack with 170 HP, which is such a nice stat line to reach for health because it allows you to not get one-shotted by most high-end attacks like Palkia, for example, Mewtwo, etc. Whoa. Whoa, this is sick. This one's sick. I love the flexibility. Oh, okay. Okay, and Gibble can function with any energy. So the problem with only going fighting with this is that you're limited to, like, your Gabite can't really attack reliably if you were to take that approach, unless it could be very likely that we get fighting versions of the Garchomp line. Oh my goodness. That is sick. Adaman. During your opponent's next turn. Can I... What are these angles? What are they... Why do they do this? It's like they want me to look at... I should be looking into leaks. Like, what the hell? Leafeon and Glaceon EX. These cards... Oh my god, this Glaceon art is absolutely beautiful. I can't help myself but start with it. 140 HP, snowy terrain during Pokemon checkup. If this Pokemon is in the active spot, Do 10 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Oh, like hail. And then a freezing wind of 90 with a retreat cost of 1. If it's in the active spot, it will deal damage, but then you can retreat with an attack. That's interesting, because the damage output is like very minimal. It's free, but it requires an EX Pokemon to be in the front lines, which leaves it vulnerable for Cyrus after. And the freezing wind attack is obviously balanced around that and not really very impressive. It's a stage 1 evolution, not that hard to complete, but I'm not super impressed by this. I feel like it's slow. I feel like, I mean, it's kind of supposed to be like, you want to have it in the front line attacking as a sweeper, but it's not that thick. You know, it has 140 HP. Even if you put a cape on it, like it's gonna get worn down faster. But it allows you to constantly ping at them. I mean, for the most part, unless you're pivoting into something else, you're just adding 10 damage with this ability onto whatever else you're doing. Is that worth going through the trouble of all this? I'm a little bit skeptical about Glaceon EX, to be honest, about how good it's gonna be. I think there are some issues with the card. Like, this effect would be a lot more menacing if it was a bulkier Pokemon. Like, I would have liked this kind of ability on something like an Abomasnow, for example, that's like really thick. Forest Breath. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may take a grass energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your grass Pokemon. Now that's doper. I like Leafeon more. Leafeon's effect is a lot more impactful than Snowy Terrain. A lot more. Like, as soon as you complete this evolution, every turn you're just getting 1 extra energy, which allows you to accelerate a lot of your other Pokemon. It's an EX Pokemon, though, so it does come at a risk. But it's just, like, a lot more consequential, right? Because it's kind of like you can use Leafeon. Like, I could see myself running Leafeon with, like, something, even like Venusaur EX or something else, like, thick for grass. And you just use Leafeon as a wall. You don't invest any energy onto it. You start placing energy on the Pokemon on the back, and then you accelerate that process. So it's like a much faster Lilligant. It's an EX body, but I think this has a lot of potential for the grass typing, really. Yeah, Leafeon definitely wins out of these two for me. But the Glaceon card is just absolutely beautiful. I have to look at those trainer cards. I haven't forgotten about them. It's just that I'm seeing if we get like a better angle of that. Motherfuckers. Really? Okay, well, I'm gonna figure this out. Heal 40 damage from each of your Pokemon that has any water energy attached to it. Okay, I see. Okay, so Irida, oh my goodness. Irida is like a slightly weaker Erica. That's way more universal. Like, it not only water got healing, but it's not just water. Like, you can run a normal type deck, a mixture of like water and normal types, and as long as the normal types have like water attached to them as well, even Druddigon, like Irida makes Druddigon decks that run water better, because now you can heal Druddigon for 40 HP. That's a big deal. Like, it's not limited to the typing, but the energy. So any deck that runs water energy, essentially, for whatever reason, has access to a trainer card that heals as much as Erica, which is one of the prime reasons to play grass as a typing, as a, like entirely. It's a really big deal. Very powerful. Very powerful. It's 10 less HP, but still healing something for 40 is a massive deal in just one card. Really interesting. And the other one is your opponent's next turn. All of your Pokemon take... During your opponent's next turn, all of your... What Pokemon? Because otherwise, it cannot be a strictly... It cannot be a strictly better version of Blue. So there has to be a typing restriction for this. Which I assume is water, because this guy looks like a water person. I don't know. Maybe it's the blue hair, the blue clothing. He just gives me those vibes. So a strictly better version of blue, but for a specific typing. And I'm going to assume it's water. Why do they do this? Why do they hide the cards like this? This is so dumb. Honestly, this is really dumb. Like from now on, I'm just going to go and go into the leaks. I think this is stupid. Like, I don't know this Abominable Snow. Like, when Arceus or Arceus in play attacks used by this Pokemon, I assume, cost 1 less energy. So the Mega Punch goes from 3 to 2. And I can't even see the other one. God damn it! All of your Pokemon, through your opponent's next turn, all of your, I assume, water Pokemon take minus 20 damage. So Crobat and Heatran seem insane. Abominable Snow, I have to look into it. Is that like another... Okay, that's the Magnezone. Okay. So I can't see that, but that's fine because that's the Magnezone. Okay. The Abominable Snow, bro. Okay, wait. I can go back and I can figure it out. Yeah, because they show the cards earlier. Yeah, it's a 3 energy attack. It's a 3 energy attack that deals 80 damage. So Abominable Snow will be able to deal 80 damage for 2 energy. Attacks used by this Pokemon would, yeah. So it's basically going to be 120 HP and going to be dealing 80 damage for 2 energy. I mean, that may not seem very impressive, but it actually is. If you compare this to like a Starmie EX who deals 90 damage for 2 energy and is an EX Pokemon and has 130 HP, this Pokemon is just like 10, skimming 10 on those two. So Abominable Snow is just like actually quite powerful. Has a retreat cost of 3, and I would say it's not as impressive, at least initially, to the likes of Heatran and Crobat. Tyranitar seems kind of mid, to be honest. Taking all this into account, like yeah, I mean, it's dealing 160 damage. Don't get me wrong, but we played Rhyperior, and it depends on how Larvitar, like how the two prior evolutions are as well, because this is one of the downsides of Rhyperior is like they're slow and very hard to retreat. But I would assume that that's not necessarily the case for them. But as excited as I am for Tyranitar, and maybe it's just like the raw power of it, like dealing 160 damage for 4 energy, like don't get me wrong, like that. Gyarados EX is a massive threat, dealing 140. So this thing can just like go ahead and sweep on its own, with Arceus of course. But Carnivine seems like really powerful. Raichu seems really interesting and exciting. And Magnezone is also really neat. But all in all, we are getting an expansion where basically it's going to be a bunch of different Arceus decks. That's what this mini set is. So I'm not even going to bother putting Arceus in the thumbnail because you can assume that every deck that I upload is actually going to be like... But it's going to be interesting to see like if these Arceus archetypes, and not everything is Arceus because we have Garchomp EX as well. But it's going to be interesting to see like how strong the Arceus shell plays into this Darkrai Magnezone meta. Because this Darkrai Magnezone meta with Exeggutor EX reigning as well is very strong. But all in all, really exciting cards. With the requirement of pairing them with Cyrus, Crobat seems... I'm so excited for Crobat. Like, that's honestly, like... Right now, it's the one that I'm most hyped for. And Heatran is amazing. We're getting more fire types. We need more fire types. We need more diversity and options. But we actually have a legitimate... Like, the... Fire is a big winner here because with Arceus in the mix, like, Fire Arceus decks... There's a lot of possibilities now. There's actually a lot... Maybe I can actually make Matt Cargo useful now. Because of the ability to combine him with with stuff like Heatran and Arceus, even though maybe I have to figure it out. Rotom is a very nice tool, but all in all, really exciting shit. I have to see like how I feel about the mechanics. The supporters being linked to like a specific type. I don't know how I feel about that if we don't get more of them. Right? It could be like pretty one-sided if we only get these two. But all in all, it's... I've been talking for 30 minutes? What the hell? Oh my goodness. I mean, it's my first impressions, and I tend to ramble. I'm sorry about that, but oh my god. A lot of Pokemon that I love, too. Really, really cool stuff. I don't think I'm going to be covering the leaks. I'm just going to be providing you guys with a stream tomorrow. I'm going to be streaming early, very early. I'm going to get very early up because the expansion is going to release like around like 7 a.m. my time. So I'll be awake really early, and I'll have a long-ass stream and a video ready for you guys tomorrow. And we're going to start cooking. We're going to see what this set is all about and see if it's just all Arceus decks or, you know, because it's not just like you can combine these with a bunch of older cards. I think this could potentially have a very interesting effect over deck building. Because of the ability to combine these shells with other like older Pokemon as well. And we'll see what it fleshes out. What do you guys think? Like, what do you guys think about like these cards being all tied to Arceus? How are we feeling about this? Let me know in the comment section down below what your first impressions are. And, you know, don't be afraid to spoil me other cards because, you know, throughout the day I'm going to be looking over the leaks as well at this point. And I'm going to be preparing decks for tomorrow. So... love you. Have a solid day. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Hope you're excited for the new videos because we're going to be pumping out content with the new cards. And I'm going to stop rambling. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys tomorrow.